in which I talk to Republicans, and they'll say, well, I support President Trump's policies, but I don't care for the man, I don't care for the personality.
Oh, they can go straight to hell.
That is a left-wing talking point.
Yes.
This is a man who could be living a great life, enjoying his family. Imagine what it takes to wake up every day knowing that your government is trying to put you in jail, trying to take your money away, trying to punish your children. And all he has to do is give up on this country.
Nope.
And yet, he wakes up every day and fights. So I heard my opponent, I heard Mitt say that the other day. He said, well, I support Trump's policies. Fact check, false. Okay, because he does not. But says he's not my kind of personality. I know what his personality is now after having run against him. Let me tell you something. You aren't fit to shine Donald Trump's shoes, okay?
Yes.
All right, so Ohio. I want you to know something else. We got the best senator in the United States of America right now. And I don't mean, some of you who are the car people in this room, this may make sense. The motorcycle people, I think, will make sense. You know, Smitty, you got modes, right? You got like eco mode, snow mode, right? You put your car in different modes, right?
Sport mode.
Sport mode, baby, absolutely. Ludicrous mode, right? So I'm going to tell you that the one thing people don't know about JD, he's got the same way. I've seen them all. I've seen JD in dad mode, and it's great to watch. He's just devoted to his kids. Loves his kids. Like you can see it. It's not faking it. This isn't in front of a kid. He's a great dad. Then I see him in husband mode. Loves his wife. They have a great relationship. I see him in senator mode. And that's when the academic comes out, right? Very knowledgeable. He actually reads bills. It's weird, right? Understands policy. Then I saw JD in son mode at his dad's funeral. It was incredibly touching to watch that. I don't think he probably wants me talking about this. But then my favorite one is when he's in hillbilly mode. Because when you put in the hillbilly mode, let me tell you, the real JD comes out, and it's great to watch. Welcome, JD Vance.
We're standing again.
I love you guys. Thank you.
Bernie, what an introduction. I can't wait to hear that for the next day and a half. First of all, the great Carrie Lake for being here.
Yeah. Is she still here?
And you guys know Carrie, and you just saw her if you didn't know Carrie. She's just one of the most impressive people.
I should have brought a comm badge for her.
A little higher.
She's my captain.
I'm not kidding.
Microphone. Higher.
I got a loud voice. Can you hear me in the back? Yes. So here's the thing. Carrie Lake, who's with us, she's one of the most impressive people who's ever run for public office in this country. I know it's St. Patrick's Day, I didn't wear any green, but if anybody pinches me, you're going to see hillbilly mode. Just like by the time I talk to you at this volume, I may need a beer by the end of the day. Yeah! Then the story tomorrow will be Carrie Lake and alcoholic JD Vance. Let me just say a couple of things because I want to be quick here because I'm going to have a request for you at the end of it.
Oh.
And I want to tell you just very simply why I support Bernie Moreno for the United States Senate, why I think every single person in this room should too. Are we going to get Bernie over the finish line? Carrie said it better than I could. Bernie is the only America First conservative in this race, the only Jim Jordan endorsed candidate in this race, the only Donald Trump endorsed candidate in this race.
Yes!
policy agreements and why I think Bernie would agree with me on a lot of issues. And of course, I'm sure we're going to disagree from time to time because unlike most of the scumbags in Washington, he actually thinks for himself, right? How good was he? I'm going to tell you about a couple of very personal reasons because I've been in the trenches for the last little over a year, ladies and gentlemen, and I have seen what is going to save this country, and I've seen what's going to destroy it. Bernie Moreno in the United States Senate is going to save this country. We need more like Here's what I mean by that. Let me give you one example. Now, you guys probably call them rhinos, but I've started to call them different name. I call them Republicans. Why do I call them that? Because I've seen a lot of these guys give interviews, and it's like they've got that suction thing that the dentist stuck in their mouth. They get a tough question. It's like, that person is going to lead to the end of the Republican Party and the end of this republic. And you see it just the past 12 hours. We had a great rally in Dayton for Bernie Moreno. Donald Trump came in, absolutely fired up the voters of Dayton. I mean, it's going to be a great victory. But Trump said something that, by the way, is 100% true, that if we don't slap tariffs on these Chinese cars and protect our auto workers, there's going to be a bloodbath in this country. Now, before you clap for that, you can go in the dictionary and look up the word bloodbath. And in the second or third definition, the definition is literally like economic catastrophe, okay? So the media says that Donald Trump is threatening violence when all he is describing reality. And I hate to say it, my friends, about half of the people I serve with, even the Republicans in the United States Senate, they get asked about those comments, and they're going to go,
Like a dying camel.
You've seen him do it. I can't take it. That noise shows you you're dealing with a weak Republican who's going to sell this country down the river. Now, the second reason why we got to send Bernie Moreno is that Bernie has real courage, ladies and gentlemen. You've seen, and maybe you haven't seen all of it, but they have thrown slime after slime after slime, and I know what it's like because they did the exact same thing to me. You remember my primary down the stretch? All of the rhinos and all of the Democrats started to come after me because we had the Trump endorsement and we were ready to win. And they wanted to do anything to keep me out of the United States Senate. Well, whenever the worst people in the world do everything they can to keep a guy out of the United States Senate, we the people respond, we're going to send him to the United States Senate. I want to say about Bernie is he's a good man who honors his word. Now again, I'm not going to tell you that, I'm 20, the most important 20 policy issues, we could go down the list, and Bernie and I are going to agree on every single one of them. That's important, of course. But what's most important is when you're in the fight in Washington, you know somebody's got your back, and you know somebody's not going to stick a knife in your back. That matters, my friends, because what is the biggest battle that we have had as Senate Republicans in the last few months? The biggest battle that we had was whether to stand firm and demand border security before Joe Biden sent another $61 billion. Right? I don't care what you can disagree with me on the Ukraine question, but I think every single person in this room believes that before we send another $61 billion to Ukraine, we ought to stop that fentanyl, stop the sex trafficking, stop the poison and the criminals coming into our country, get them out of here. And the reason we didn't win that fight, I hate to say it, because you don't need to win in that fight. We didn't need 50 Republicans. We've only got 49. You just needed 40 Republicans. And with you need 40 and you got 49, I'm not a math whiz. It seems like you got enough, but not if you don't send the right kind of Republican.
Right.
And that is the most important thing. Bernie Moreno is the right kind of Republican. We've got to do everything we can. And you know that with the issues. Let's just talk about a couple of issues. You heard it with the Ukraine question. Bernie's had more courage than anybody. Bernie and Kerry Lake, to be clear, running for the United States Senate in this cycle on that issue. Put the border first. Let other countries deal with their own problems. That's what we got to focus on. Now let's talk about the border, though, because my friends, this is, you hear this word, existential. Meaning, if we don't get this right, this country doesn't exist anymore. And that is exactly right. Now here's why the Democrats want open borders and why they're willing to poison this country to keep those borders open. It's all about votes. And I know the media is going to say, whoa, illegal aliens can't vote. Well, they say illegal aliens can't vote, and then they fight every single effort to require photo ID at the ballot box. We all that. Okay? But even if they were right, even if the fake media was right, you know what happened? And I didn't even know this until like 3 months ago. I'm almost ashamed to admit it. But California has 5 more congressional representatives than it should because of one issue. Why? They don't have to assume they're voting because they're counted in the U.S. Census. So if you import millions and millions of people and you give them congressional representation, you destroy the will of the people to govern their own country. Let that happen. And let's talk about policy. Do we grant amnesty to the 15 million people who have come here last year?
No.
Do we support them? Yes. So let's send Bernie Moreno to the United States Senate to help. Do we have a president? And we're going to get President Trump back, I believe that. But do we have a president who's terrified of calling them illegals? Instead of being terrified about the fact that they're in our neighborhoods, some of them murdering our innocent young people. Look, I've been a Republican my whole life. I have never thought I would live in a country where the President of the United States is apologizing to a cold-blooded killer for calling him a bad word. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen, and it reveals who they are, and it reveals why we need to send people like Bernie Moreno to fight back. So, brief, and I've already gone longer than I wanted. I'm going to take this Apple Watch off because these things are always spying on me. I trust me. I'm telling you, it's transcribing everything and sending it off to Xi Jinping. You think I'm kidding? I'll put the tinfoil hat out here. One funny.
They don't work.
Two things that you can do to get Bernie over the finish line this Tuesday. Number one, I want you to get every single one of your friends, every single one of your family. I want every single person in this room to vote for Bernie Moreno 10 times. Now, some of you laugh, and I got some looks here. Like, we're Republicans. We don't do that. We don't vote 10 times. Here's what I mean. We're going to vote 10 times the legal way. Because every single one of you can be responsible for 10 people to take to the polls on or before Tuesday. You guys do that? My stepmom. By the way, Bernie, in the heat of the campaign trail, my dad passed away from cancer. And you know who showed up? Bernie Moreno. Uninvited, by the way, but Bernie. Uninvited but welcome. But that shows the kind of guy you are, right? That shows the kind of guy you are, and it did touch me to have you there. But my stepmom was going to be here this evening. She couldn't come, but she's going to get her mom, and she's going to get everybody to come to the polls and vote for Bernie. That's how we get this thing across the finish line. That's request number one. Request number two. Now, I realize it's getting late, but I'm sure a lot of you want photos. And I don't want you just to take a photo, okay? That's great. I want you to go to Facebook, whatever social media you use.
I'm already there.
Put it on Facebook and say, vote for Bernie Moreno on Tuesday.
Every day.
We the people have our voice and we know how to use it. They've got all the fake media, they've got all the money, and they've got all the tech companies, but we still have the ability to get the word out. Please get the word out and get Bernie Moreno across the finish line. And so I think what we're going to do, if I'm right, is we're going to try to line up over here, take a quick photo, say hello, and then go home, post that thing on social media, and tell everybody to vote for Bernie Moreno. My friends, we have got 2 days to go. Bernie Moreno's our guy. Let's get